Let me tell you something that'll blow your mind. If you've ever believed in peace and quiet, real solitude, you probably haven't owned something that everybody else wants. I mean, I thought I did, until I bought a lake and ended up in the kind of war that makes you question who really owns one in America. Funny, right? A war over water. People fight over gold, oil, love. I just wanted to drink coffee on my porch and watch the sun burn off the Oklahoma mist. Picture this. The lake looked like a secret somebody carved out of the clouds and forgot to mention to the rest of the world. No river, no creek, just water as still as a photograph. I bought it all, 100 acres, a spring-fed lake big enough to make you feel small, and a house that was humble but had a porch wrapped around it like a hug. The Wi-Fi was slow, which felt like a blessing. After years as a federal attorney fighting over who gets the mineral rights to a mud hole, I finally got what I thought was ironclad solitude. It was mine, legally, spiritually, every which way. For the first year, the only thing that ever wandered near my shore was a deer or maybe a particularly brave raccoon. I'd write legal guides for farmers, give advice over the phone, and mostly just listen to the wind roll through the reeds. I was healing from life in D.C. The burnout, the noise, the constant chess game of favors and threats. Then Cedar View landing crept up on me. You ever seen an HOA built from scratch? Slick brochures, shiny houses, promises of country luxury. Suddenly, there's a row of new homes huddled close to my lake, close but not on it. They peered over the fence like kids eyeing candy through the glass. One Saturday, a family with that just moved in look flagged me down. 2 kids, parents beaming, all polite. They wanted to fish. Just a few hours, sir. We'll be quiet, we swear. I should have said no. But the kids' eyes, man, they hadn't learned entitlement yet. I made a deal. Daylight only, no trash, no engines, no parties, and for the love of God, keep it down. They smiled, nodded, promised, and left not a single gum wrapper. Felt good. For a while, it even felt right. But word travels at the speed of gossip in neighborhoods like that. Pretty soon, more folks started asking. I kept repeating the rules, and for a while, it was okay. Kids laughed, someone splashed in the shallows. The sound drifted soft as a lullaby. I was still the guy with the lake, but now I was the cool guy with the lake. You know how fast that changes. First, a beer can showed up under a bush. Then candy wrappers bobbing in the reeds. One day, I heard music, a real party, the kind you feel in your ribs. Teenagers everywhere, trucks parked on my grass, tires chewing up the bank. When I asked, some kid shrugged, we're friends with the Parkers. The Parkers, the same family I trusted. Suddenly my rules had loopholes, like waves carving out the underside of dock. I tried talking to them, calm, friendly. They got defensive fast. We pay HOA dues. You should be grateful for the exposure. They told me like I was getting free publicity instead of free garbage. Your lake, they called it, but there was this tone, like they were rehearsing for the day it became our lake. So I put up signs, private property, no trespassing. I even installed a camera, not to play sheriff, but I've seen enough courtroom drama to know how stories unravel. First slow, then all at once. It really blew up on Memorial Day weekend, the 3rd summer. Woke up to EDM rattling the window panes. Looked out, saw an army of partygoers, coolers, jeeps, beer cans, and a grill under a blue canopy that actually said Cedar View Lake Bash. I'm not kidding. They made my property into an event. I walked down there, filmed the whole thing. Some woman, neon bikini, yelled, "Come join us." It's your lake, right? Like I should be grateful for the company. I unplugged the speaker. This is private property, I said, loud and clear. You all need to leave. Some laughed. The beer-gutted grill master tried to reason with me. Come on, man. It's just a lake. Yeah, to them it was just a lake. That night, after picking up their trash, beer bottles, plastic forks, a couple diapers, I sat down and wrote a formal letter to the HOA board. No threats, just cold legal facts. All prior permissions rescinded. Here's the proof, here are the laws, and if you want to argue, be my guest. 3 days later, I get an email from Randall Crane, president of the HOA, and a man who thought he'd been born with a Silvergate key. He thanked me for my generosity, but said Cedar View had come to expect continued access to the lake, which is considered a vital part of our visual and recreational environment. He threatened legal action if I didn't change my mind. Restore traditional access, he wrote, like their 3 summers of trespassing were some sacred ritual. So I built a real fence, 6 feet high, steel mesh sunk deep. Signs everywhere. Cameras everywhere. The retaliation started almost immediately. Selfish spray painted on a sign. Fence posts knocked over. Cigarette butts and beer cartons on the path to the lake. My cameras caught them, faces clear as day. I reached out to Randall. He wouldn't talk. All communication should go through HOA legal. I got a newsletter slipped under my gate. Lead story, reclaiming our lake. Quotes about children crying, hearts divided, all that melodrama. I sent one last letter, formal, notarized, copies to the county. No more permission. Trespassers will be prosecuted. And then silence. No more music, no more parties. Just wind, cicadas, and the honest hush I'd bought all those years ago. But if you know anything about guys like Randall, you know silence is never peace. It's just the sound of someone plotting. Then came a lawsuit. Courier dropped off a fat envelope, complaint from the HOA. I'd ruined their community's emotional rights, their property values, their tradition of lake access. They cited old zoning memos, marketing pamphlets, whatever they could dig up. Historic use, they called it. As if 3 years of barbecue and trespassing was history. I didn't rage. I poured some rye, sat on my porch, and planned my counterattack. I gathered deeds, surveys, emails, photos of trash, contractor receipts, proof of every cleanup, every fence repair. I dug up Cedar View's original documents. Nowhere did it ever say lake access was included. Their whole argument was built on brochures and wishful thinking. Randall doubled down. The HOA sent letters claiming this was a landmark case. Facebook posts about selfish land barons and elitist neighbors. I hit back with facts, maps, property lines, statutes, sent them to every resident. Some got it. Most didn't. The twist. One of Randall's own board members quit and sent me an affidavit, sworn statement, that Randall had orchestrated everything. He used HOA money for private security, even paid a guy to monitor my property. All the while telling neighbors I was just bluffing. Court day. The courthouse was more small town than TV drama. Judge Harper, sharp, no nonsense, ex-zoning chair. Randall shows up in a suit that looked borrowed and a smirk he couldn't quite pull off. The judge wastes no time. So this is the case about the lake? Randall tries to spin it, but Harper sees right through. Did you build your subdivision on this man's land? No, ma'am, but is it registered under his name? Yes, but are there any easements? Randall falters. There are none. The judge leans in. You're arguing that a private property owner is obligated to let strangers use his lake because it's pretty? The courtroom cracks up. Randall looks sick. His lawyer talks about emotional damage and historic use. The judge just shakes her head. How many years? She asks. 3, he mumbles. She grants my motion to dismiss, hints that the HOA might get sanctioned if they keep pushing. Outside, Randall storms past me. His lawyer looks 10 years older. I breathe, really breathe for the first time in months. But you know, karma has a sense of humor. The next weeks were pure cat and mouse. Drones flying over my dock. Unmarked SUVs idling by the fence. Officials showing up, asking about permits that don't exist. Contractors harassed, cameras smashed, anonymous notes in my mailbox. Keep your fence. Lose your peace. Cute. I started a new dossier, post-dismissal harassment. Sent a warning to the board. Next stop, court. Another week, another incident. Someone dumps a pile of dead fish at my sign. I take photos, add them to the stack. By the time of the second hearing, the whole county was talking. This wasn't just about one lake anymore. I had affidavits, invoices, camera footage, even the recording of Randall on a Zoom call saying, he may own the lake on paper, but we own the pressure. The judge was not amused. She slapped an injunction on the HOA, referred the whole mess to the state attorney. Randall looked like he'd swallowed a pine cone. The HOA cracked. Board members resigned, people quit, property values tanked. They settled fast, Over 200 grand. Randall resigned. I spent 10,000 on new fencing, cameras, even bought a buffer strip of land. No more accidental access. The best part? Local paper did a story. Headline, "The Lake That Fought Back." Judge Harper's quote went viral. You don't get to vote on someone else's deed. Folks started sending me emails, even t-shirts. Randall? Last I heard, he left town, probably joined another HOA, maybe under a new name. And me? The lake healed. The birds came back. Fish started spawning in the shallows again. The silence felt earned, like interest on a debt I never should have owed. I wrote a legal guide, sold more copies than I'd expected. A rancher stopped by one day, wanted advice on how to keep his own HOA off his creek. I poured him coffee, gave him my booklet, and said, don't wait until there's swimming in your water. Start drawing lines before they bring the party. I look back now and think I didn't win just because I had the law on my side. I won because I refused to let my peace get bartered away by people who thought rules were for other folks. Sometimes the lesson is this. The world will always test the boundaries of what you own, who you are, what you're willing to defend. There's a price for standing up, and sometimes it's high. But the cost of giving in, that's steeper still. So yeah, I still have my lake. Still drink my coffee on the porch, watch the fog burn away, listen to the kind of quiet most folks never get to hear. But I keep one eye on the fence just in case. And here's the real question I still can't answer. Where's the line between what's fair, what's legal, and what's just human? Is it ever right to want something so badly you're willing to bend reality to get it? Or is there a point where standing your ground, even if it makes you the villain in somebody else's story, is the only real choice left? I'd love to know what you think. Share your thoughts below. Have you ever had to defend what's yours or seen justice play out in a way that left you shaking your head? Tell me your stories about HOAs, neighbors, or just plain old human stubbornness. Let's see where the real lines are drawn.